Hello, friends. Welcome to this live stream. And many of us have certain primal fear in all of us. Some are scared of the Elm Street, where you get the very horrifying dreams, and others are also scared of zombies. And in fact, there are a lot of movies that has been made on zombies, attack of the zombie infections, which spread within 15 minutes, and then suddenly all these horrible looking humans start biting other humans which are not infected. So we know about all this. And hey, by the way, we are science based channel, so we would like to analyze this. In fact, there has been lot of movies, lot of serials, and there is one which is called Last of Us, which is becoming very popular. So I think uh, while the zombies are described in fiction, but is it really real? Let us find out. So, when it comes to zombies, we see that uh, the zombies are infected by some sort of viruses or some sort of fungi. In the movies, we have seen that both variation of the zombiness can be found. In some movies, they show that it's a viral infection. In other movies, they show this as a fungal infection. Nevertheless, it's an infection in humans and it spreads very quickly. And if the other infected human bite another one, within 10 to 15 minutes, the other one will become a zombie, or it is also known as undead. Well, in reality, in the movies, horror movies, they show that the undead is somebody who is actually dead, but is still being controlled by something, some other kind of sense which is prevailing in this infected human, which is asking this human to do things which otherwise it is impossible or impossible asked by any other human. So I think they show that. But in my opinion, when we say undead, it is basically means that the infected zombie will carry out the activity which has been instructed by a third party until it is dead. So it is dead. The end result of a zombie infection is that the human will die eventually, until unless it will complete its task. So what are these tasks which the zombie, fungal, or viruses are asking the infected person to do? To understand this more in detail, let us look at the basics. Let us look at the virus. We know that viruses are remarkable living organisms. Viruses can exist in suspended animation for thousands of years, and then if the situation becomes favorable, they become active. So you can actually make the viruses sort of dead, which you think it's dead, and then they can come alive one fine day. So it's very difficult to destroy a virus completely. And viruses are very simple life forms. They are absolutely simple. In fact, if you remember your school biology, you know that the viruses can be grounded into powder and can be stored in bottles. And at the right time, if the moisture is introduced, they become viruses again. So it is very difficult to destroy a virus completely. So therefore, virus-based infection are very difficult to cure. In fact, most of the virus-based infections have no cure at all. Starting from a common cold, you know that there is no medicine for common cold until and unless the virus which has infected you and has given you common cold, it mutates after 3 to 4 days and then disappears. But then there are other deadly viruses like AIDS virus, Ebola. Recently, we have seen the pandemic viruses. There are absolutely no cure, and only cure we have is vaccination. Basically, protecting ourselves from the symptoms that viruses give us. So we can control the symptoms, but we cannot really destroy the viruses. So that is one thing which is very peculiar, and these are very, very basic form of life forms which can live in a suspended animation form, where they can live between the boundary of living and dead. So that is very peculiar about viruses. Okay, so let's move on to the next one, which is bacteria. Well, if the life started on the earth billions of years back, it would have been a bacteria. And most of the bacteria we know that there are called good bacteria. They actually help us to live our life in a very healthy manner. They help us processing our food. They also help us transmit certain signals in our body. And in fact, a certain bunch of body mass within our body consists of bacteria, which are called good bacteria. In fact, there are bacterial drinks which are given so that they can replenish your bacteria inside your gut, which will help you improve your health. So there are good bacteria and there are very few bad bacteria which will give you ailments. And so in a way, we are very similar to bacteria. All the life form on earth probably evolved from one of these single-celled living cells, which exist in nature as bacteria. But if they decide to become one as one animal, a bunch of bacteria come close to each other, start living like a colony. We call this as a animal or a bird or an insect. So there are a lot of similarity between the bacteria and the rest of the living form. Bacteria is not viruses. In fact, they are infected by viruses. As a life cycle of virus, bacteria are consumed, and the viruses use bacteria to reproduce themselves. All right, what is the third basic life form? The third basic life form is the fungi, which is the most mysterious. Well, fungi and bacteria also don't go along. And fungi is basically has unleashed chemical and biological warfare on bacteria. Fungi produces many enzymes that we can process today. I mean, there are certain secrets which we as very advanced species don't even know what fungi are capable of. As far as we know, the fungi do not have any brain, but they have a huge network. They create a network and they transmit signal pretty much very similar to our neurons in our body. When they transmit signal, it is very similar to that. So fungi make a big colony. They grow, and we have no idea where their central processing unit is. It appears that they don't have a brain, but they collectively work together towards one cause. And one cause is they are actually fighting a battle with bacteria. And they have evolved certain weapons which are very effective in killing bacteria. And this is something which is very strange, because there has been a battle going on, and the fungi group of living organisms are killing bacteria in like a weapon of mass destruction. So there is no way you can actually get rid of fungi at all, because there are certain things we don't even understand how fungus works. What are the is there a central brain? There are so many different types of fungi, and all of it we know a lot about fungi, but the many things we do not understand even today. One thing you would remember, friends, that most of the antibiotics that we use today are basically produced by processing enzymes present in funguses. Penicillin, the first antibiotic which was identified during the First World War, was from the penicillin is a fungus. So basically, this battle has been growing on between bacteria and fungi for almost, at least on Earth, for billions of years. Maybe if the life has come from some other planet, the initial life like viruses, bacteria and fungus, that means the battle has come to Earth from somewhere else, and this battle will keep raging. It has raged in the past, it will continue to rage, and the fungi will actually control the expansion or growth of bacteria to the large extent. So there is one thing which I would like to mention here when it comes to bacteria and fungus, because over the evolution process, both of these species, which is fungus and bacteria, they have found their own place to exist. The fungus on Earth cannot exist in temperature which are higher than 25 degrees. So if you heat up things, then there will be no fungus. So there is no fungus if the environment of a particular area which is higher than 25 degrees. So most of the fungal infections that you will see, you will get those fungal infections in the forest and high humidity and temperature which is in the range of 20 to 25 degrees. But bacteria can thrive in a higher temperature. In fact, there are certain bacteria which can thrive in almost 200 degrees and acidic environment. So it is a process of evolution. So bacteria, in order to save themselves, they have they have modified themselves using the evolution, and they survive in higher temperature where fungi cannot attack them. So this is where the changes have happened with regard to the battle between fungus and bacteria. Well, viruses, there is no defense at all because we don't know how to defend ourselves from viruses. Both fungi and bacteria don't know how to do that. All right. There is another thing that the fungus is capable of doing, and that is the controlling the plants. So the plants that grow on earth in the form of forest or any other plant, there is a huge fungal network below the surface, and the fungal network interacts with the roots of these trees and plants and exchange information, exchange nutrient, and who knows, what kind of exchange they are doing, because our knowledge is very, very early in this field. But we have noticed that the fungus which is present decide which plant will live and which will die. So as a natural process, certain trees in the forest, they die and they get infected by the fungus infection and then they die. So all this is decided by the network which exists underground, the fungi network which exists underground, and it get to decide. And we don't know what is the logic of such a decision, because there is absolutely no logic by which a healthy plant can be eliminated by the fungal network or the fungi which exist below the ground and tells the plant to die. So this is something which has happening, and we know that this is almost like a zombie network, that a living form, the life and death of a living form, even though it is a plant, a non-moving life form, is actually determined. The fate of that life form is determined by the fungi network which is underground. So this is very surprising. I think more research is required in this area. But is the fungi capable of infecting and controlling the other living organisms? And it turns out that yes, it does. There is a fungi which is known as cordyceps. This is a specialized fungi which is specialized in infecting insects and making them zombies. And as far as we know, this has been going on for last 130 million years, because the oldest fungi infected ant has been found trapped in the tree umber, which is based on the carbon dating, is 130 million years old. So this has been going on for long time, maybe older than this. The cordyceps fungi can control, can infect insects and can control their brain, and can basically change their behavior also. How we know this? Because a lot of research has been done on this, and we know this because even ants realize that such a thing is happening. So whenever there is a cordyceps colony nearby, ants tend to live up in the tree, because ants seems to know this fact that there could be a fungus which will be attacking them, and they have no protection against cordyceps. However, if unfortunate ant come in contact with cordyceps, the cordyceps has enzymes using which they can drill into the hard skin of ant and then reach inside the body, and then spread along with the muscular lines and start creating their own colony inside the ant body. And they actually cover most of the major muscular joints as if they are waiting to receive signal from somewhere. And then a portion of the cordyceps actually go and surround the brain of the ant. So literally the ant still is able to think. It is not that the cordyceps are trying to change the brain. They are not trying to infect the brain of the ant. In fact, they are surrounding the brain of the ant. And then what happens is they start mimicking the instructions being sent by the brain of the ant. And since their mates are already sitting at the major joints, the ant actually lose control of their body. So it is like living with your active brain and your consciousness inside your own body as a prisoner, because you have lost control of your body, and the cordyceps now start controlling the ants. Now what happens to this unfortunate ant? Well, in fact, in all 100% of the infected ants, these ants will be directed to go to a particular height, which seems to be at a temperature of 25 degrees, and they're always facing the north side of the pole, north pole of the earth, and they actually make a last bite on a particular area in a leaf, and they will be upside down. And now this is the case always. So such precision has to be there, because whenever there is an insect which is infected by this cordyceps, it is able to give them a proper, the body is controlled by cordyceps, and it will ask the body of the ant to go to this location, make the last bite in a leaf, and then basically die. And within 5 to 10 days, cordyceps will then overtake the body and consume the body, use it for its own growth, and then gives out this kind of a, similar to when we see mushrooms, similar to that, there will be an outgrowth from the body of the ant, and then the spores which of the cordyceps will spread on the other unfortunate ants which happen to roam underneath on the surface in the forest. So the cycle, this is a life cycle of cordyceps. They actually infect a lot of insects, control their body, make them zombie or undead, and then use them to grow their own number. So I think this is something which is very, very strange, and this is happening when it comes to insects. It's not only the ants, they tend to infect a lot of other insects also, and they make them zombie and then grow that way. So this thing, we know it's happening in between the fungi as well as between the insects. When insects are very simple living beings, they don't have not a very big brain, and also the other systems like nervous systems and circulatory systems are not as complex. But we have also seen that there are a type of fungus which can infect smaller animals like rodent. So that fungus is called toxoplasma. And in fact, toxoplasma changed the behavior of the rodent. Typically, a rat is designed to fear the cat, because a rat knows that cat is going to kill it and eat it. However, toxoplasma is a fungi which exist, which thrive in the gut of the cat. So when the pores of toxoplasma are released by the cat, it infects the rat, and then the fear factor in the rat mind is converted into attraction. So the rat the infected rat will start behaving in such a way that it will be attracted towards, it will voluntarily go to the cat so that the cat can eat it, and completing the life cycle of toxoplasma. So toxoplasma is controlling the brain of the rat, and thus using rat to carry itself into the gut of the cat. And now this has been proved also that this behavior or this mind control mechanism of fungi really works on rodent. And in our real world, we live with cats. The cats are very adorable, um, partners in our homes. So there is most likelihood that the toxoplasma may be infecting humans also. So are they controlling the brains of humans as well? So the surprising part is it does. Toxoplasma is found in nearly 40 to 50% of the human population today, because humans live with cat, and the toxoplasma fungus is found, and it reaches the blood flows and eventually reaches the brain and does not enter the brain. It remains outside as a normal behavior, because the fungus does not want to control the brain. In fact, it wants to control the body, so trapping you within your body. So that is the normal behavior of any fungal infection, brain controlling fungal infection. So it reaches around the human brain, and there it lies dormant. It lies dormant at this point in time. It does not do any as far as we know, it does not do any brain control activity or body control activity. I think the difference between mammals and larger animals like humans and the ants is that the ants are very small animal. They have very small brain, and they also do not have very complex nervous system, and they also don't have a big circulatory system. And also humans have the antibodies. So most of these fungal infections will be identified by the antibodies in our body and will be removed eventually. But then surprising part is that these toxoplasma fungal infections infect nearly 40 to 50% of the population on earth of humans and lie dormant. So why it is lying dormant? I think to find the answer, we can go back in history and find out if there is any historic reasons, and maybe humans have evolved to overcome the brain control, which was probably done when humans were evolving from other primates. So it turns out that toxoplasma actually are able to control the monkey brain. It does, and it happens today. And if you look at the other cat family animals, there is one particular cat family animal that is called leopard, and almost 50% of the diet of leopard is as a monkey. So when the toxoplasma is reaches the brain of the monkey, it actually convert its fear into attraction, and voluntarily monkey will go to a leopard and get eaten by the leopard. So it's toxoplasma is basically doing mind control of monkey and sending by completing this whole life cycle and reach through monkey into the gut of leopard, and then this is how it controls its own life cycle. So in a way, the fungi is able to do mind control of the mammals, complex life forms like mammal. And for some reason, toxoplasma lie dormant in almost 40 to 50% of the human population on earth. I think more research is required, maybe because we are part of evolution. So while we have evolved, maybe fungi is trying to evolve and take advantage of this situation, maybe sometime in future, and then at some point in time it will trigger this mind control activity on humans. Who knows? So friends, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. By the way, if you have any question, feel free to send me your comments and questions. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.